Recently, Chinese leader Xi Jinping hosted visiting Vietnamese Communist Party General Secretary To Lam in Beijing. Footage aired on CCTV showed Xi with a noticeably yellowish, dull complexion and a tired look on his face. It could be due to the ongoing situation with Trump and Iran, but the footage was clearly edited and enhanced to make him look better. In the official Vietnamese report, Xi was compared with Foreign Minister Wang Yi, who appeared a little flushed. Xi's face, on the other hand, was pale and yellowish, lacking any glow, giving him a weak, worn-out appearance. Next to Xi, Central Office Director Cai Qi also had a slightly rosy complexion, while Xi's face was almost the same color as the wooden background next to him. Furthermore, during his conversation with To Lam, Xi's face looked gaunt, yellowish, and swollen, showing signs of being unwell. After the welcome party with To Lam and his wife, they walked up the steps of the Great Hall of the People. Vietnamese media captured the moment. It appeared that To was helping his wife, while Xi and Peng Liyuan's interaction was less obvious. However, from Xi's right arm movements, it seemed like Peng was subtly placing her arm against his, almost like she was supporting him. This situation has happened more than once. According to official reports, back in December, when Xi and Peng Liyuan accompanied French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife to visit Du Jiangyan, they descended the steps. Xi's right hand was up, and Peng Liyuan's left hand and arm were lower. It looked like Xi was using his wife as a crutch. When descending, his legs appeared unsteady, almost as if he was limping. Overseas netizens commented, Peng was constantly supporting Xi's right arm, and her movements were very practiced. After reviewing the honor guard and coming down the steps, Xi was seen struggling to keep his balance with stiff legs. This wasn't the first time. Has his health reached its limit? Another part needs replacing. Is it out of warranty? How many people's organs have been used just to keep him alive until now? A netizen leaked in the comment section that on April 10, 2026, Central Office Director Cai Qi secretly gathered core confidants and revealed a shocking truth, classified as a top secret. Xi Jinping's health has become extremely unstable. The leak claims that the image of Xi appearing spirited, lively, and cheerful when meeting foreign guests is actually a carefully maintained facade. A medical team has to inject him with special drugs every day to forcibly stabilize his blood pressure and heart rate. These drugs only last for about 1 or 2 hours for public appearances. Once the event ends, his physical and mental energy quickly declines. However, independent commentator Du Zheng pointed out that some of the supposed insider information is likely fabricated by netizens, but it reflects public sentiment. Many people hope that Xi Jinping will step down soon, but it is true that Xi's deteriorating health is often noticed by others. In recent years, rumors about Xi suffering from a stroke, brain tumor, liver cirrhosis, and undergoing secret surgeries have circulated, especially during periods of intense infighting within the Communist Party. Despite these repeated rumors, Xi has made high-profile appearances again. In the summer of 2022, news of Xi having a brain aneurysm first came from foreign media. The reports claimed that Xi had a fatal brain aneurysm, was urgently hospitalized, and preferred to receive traditional Chinese medicine treatment instead of undergoing major surgery. These rumors remain unverified, but the head of the Central Health Committee, Vice Director Zheng Yixing, who is the only one serving Xi Jinping, has a background in oncology. He previously served as the director of the Oncology Prevention and Treatment Center at Sun Yat-sen University and the director of the National Key Laboratory of South China Oncology. The fact that Xi chose Zheng, an expert in cancer, raises suspicions. From videos over the years, in various settings, the most noticeable thing about Xi is the swaying of his body when walking, his head involuntarily trembling, speaking with weak breath, and frequent blinking. In March 2019, during Xi's visit to France, his body swayed, his footsteps were uneven, and his movements appeared stiff. In June 2019, Xi attended an economic forum in Russia. While leaving, he suddenly stumbled after just a few steps, but fortunately, Russian bodyguards quickly supported him. On September 14, 2022, when Xi visited Kazakhstan, he almost fell down the steps while disembarking from the plane, but he managed to catch the handrail in time. When Xi arrived at Johannesburg Airport in South Africa in August 2023, his steps were unsteady as he exited the aircraft. CCTV specifically edited out the footage of him struggling down the steps. At this year's two sessions, Xi still had 2 cups placed in front of him, while other attendees only had one. One of Xi's cups contained tea, but the other was filled with a liquid poured from what appeared to be a medicine container, possibly traditional Chinese medicine. This could indicate that Xi has been dealing with health issues and is undergoing treatment. In an autocratic regime like the Chinese Communist parties, the health of the leader is considered a state secret. It might only be officially disclosed if there's a significant political shift. However, people with some ability can often notice health problems early on. Recently, some experts in both the East and West have been keen to predict Xi Jinping's health. Well-known Taiwanese fortune teller and tarot card reader Liu Menzhong mentioned earlier this year that Xi Jinping's health will deteriorate this year, particularly with his internal organs, such as the pancreas or cardiovascular system, and that it will be quite severe. As early as 2018, Hong Kong's Apple Daily reported that Hong Kong astrologer Liu Zhiwei predicted that after Xi turned 73, he would experience a decline in health, especially with his heart, blood vessels, and eyes. Xi will be 73 in 2026. The prediction by Liu Zhiwei, made over 5 years ago, aligns closely with Liu Mengzhong's recent forecast. Despite his worsening health, Xi believes in privileged healthcare and hopes to extend his life. At a military parade on September 3, 2025, during a conversation between him and Putin, Putin remarked on immortality. He told Xi, "In the past, people couldn't live past 70, but now 70 is still considered young. Human organs will constantly be transplanted, and people may even grow younger." Xi Jinping responded by predicting that humans might live up to 150 years in this century. Xi's mention of living to 150 recalls the 981 health project launched by the CCP. It was aimed at extending the lives of top leaders to 150 years. The project was started in 2005 during Hu Jintao's administration, but it was actually masterminded by former leader Jiang Zemin. It was well known for its association with elite interests and organ transplants. It is said that after Xi entered his 3rd term, his close confidant, Cai Qi, secretly devised an upgraded 150-year project. The Chinese Communist Party's organ transplant technology is now unrivaled globally. Not only does it serve the CCP's elite, but it is also provided to high-ranking officials and wealthy individuals worldwide. While the CCP amasses illegal, illicit wealth, it is also heavily engaged in United Front tactics. The upgraded 150-year project is being shared with world leaders who are willing to align with the CCP under the guise of the Community of Shared Human Destiny and the Belt and Road Initiative. This is also the reason behind the rise of the CCP's organ diplomacy in the past decade. Commentator Tang Zhen analyzed that despite Xi's goal of living to 150, his deteriorating health has become increasingly difficult to hide as he ages. What all dictators fear the most is the public discovering their true health conditions. According to the Wall Street Journal, during the 2023 San Francisco meeting between Xi Jinping and
President Joe Biden,
after Xi had lunch at a private estate, Chinese security personnel took immediate action to ensure Xi's DNA would not fall into foreign hands. Witnesses reported seeing Chinese bodyguards in dark suits collecting Xi's used cutlery and spraying an unidentified liquid on it. It is believed that this was a measure to prevent any information about his health from being collected and analyzed. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has been known to take similar precautions, and Xi appears to have learned from him. Previously, U.S. media reported that Kim Jong-un brings his own toilet when traveling abroad. This is to prevent foreign intelligence agencies from collecting his waste for health analysis. After the Beijing military parade, when Putin and Kim Jong-un had a meeting, North Korean agents were seen swiftly cleaning up all traces left by Kim Jong-un, like removing his drinking glass and wiping down the chairs and furniture he touched to ensure that no DNA or health information could be collected. Many observers believe these signs indicate that China has entered the post-Xi era. The current situation in the CCP closely resembles the chaos that authoritarian regimes face in their later stages. As dictators age and fall ill, they become increasingly paranoid, heightening purges, while those around him begin vying for power early. During Xi's first term, his aggressive anti-corruption campaign made many enemies within the government. By the time of the 19th National Congress in October 2017, Xi had consolidated power and became the core of the party. In March 2018, he amended the constitution to abolish term limits for the president, aiming for lifelong rule. This sparked opposition from the second-generation CCP princelings. In early 2020, the COVID-19 virus spread from Wuhan, and Xi Jinping led efforts to conceal the outbreak, causing the virus to spread globally. During this time, well-known real estate mogul Ren Zhiqiang published an article criticizing Xi, calling him a clown who insists on being emperor even after being stripped of his clothes. Ren was later sentenced to 18 years on charges of corruption, and Xi's reputation was tarnished as a result. During the 3 years of the pandemic, Xi implemented strict zero-COVID policies, creating immense humanitarian disasters similar to the Great Famine of the Mao Zedong era. On October 13, 2022, Chinese citizen Peng Zhaizhou hung a banner protesting Xi on the Sitong Bridge in Beijing. He was quickly arrested. By November 2022, the nationwide White Paper movement broke out. People chanted, "Down with the Communist Party, down with Xi Jinping." These protests marked the collapse of Xi's image in the eyes of the Chinese people. Xi successfully entered his third term in October 2022. His close allies assumed key positions. However, under his leadership, the CCP has failed in governance. Australian scholar Yuan Hongbing has stated that the governance capacity of the CCP has drastically declined along with Xi's credibility. The economy has stagnated. People's livelihoods are becoming more difficult. Resentment among officials is rising, and public anger is sky high. Xi has become the public enemy of the nation. Since 2023, there have been serious internal conflicts within the Chinese military, with many of the generals personally promoted by Xi being dismissed. By April this year, even Xi's former allies from the princeling faction, like Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia, were purged. This further shocked the political landscape. Overseas commentator Cai Shen-kun pointed out that Xi Jinping is facing a situation similar to Mao Zedong's later years. The surface stability does not mean that he can rest easy. If his power was truly rock solid, why has there been a continuous wave of purges within the party and military? Cai Shen-kun stated that with age, Xi's suspicion of those around him grows stronger. Xi often believes that people around him form factions, plot conspiracies, and ultimately threaten his power and position. Cai stated that Xi Jinping is unwilling and afraid to hand over power because he fears that if he does, both he and the Xi family army would be purged. Despite a decade of anti-corruption efforts, Xi has not achieved decisive results. Instead, the situation seems to have worsened, with the entire bureaucratic system becoming a corrupt network. In other words, the more Xi tries to use anti-corruption to consolidate his power, the more he has to confront the reality. The ongoing purges indicate that his approach has not solved the problem. In an article for the Washington Times, Chinese-American scholar Mao Zhu argued that while some Western commentators view Xi Jinping as a respected and powerful visionary leader, the reality in China is quite different. Yu suggests that Xi may be the most disliked and secretly resented CCP leader since Mao Zedong. Many internet users in China subtly mock him, often calling him a clown, obsessed with power and vanity. Yu believes that within the CCP's political system, Xi Jinping's reliance on purges highlights a deeper issue. This Stalin-like purging does not only foster loyalty, but rather breeds fear. A leader who must constantly eliminate his opponents does not prove the stability of his regime. A complex and unsettling reality is that a leader can have immense power, but be widely hated. He can be in a dominant position, yet feel insecure. He can demand obedience, but fail to earn genuine respect. Recently, China has been strictly controlling retired senior officials, tightening regulations on their relocation to other regions or travel abroad, and focusing heavily on monitoring their ideological stance. Veteran political commentator Chen Po-kong said that on the surface, these policies are aimed at lower-level retired officials, but they're actually also targeting senior officials. The main issue is that there has been growing discontent among retired officials. From top to bottom, former senior officials are dissatisfied with Xi Jinping. Chen says, they all came up during the reform periods of Deng Xiaoping, Zhao Ziyang, and Hu Jintao. They strongly oppose Xi's abandonment of reform and his shift toward a cultural revolution-style approach. From top to bottom, former officials are generally anti-Xi. In May 2022, the General Office of the Central Committee issued a document to strengthen the party building of retired officials, stating that they should not criticize the central government's major policies or spread politically negative remarks. At that time, many analysts believed that the issuance of such a document suggested that a significant number of retired officials were criticizing the central government. After the sudden downfall of Central Military Commission Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia and Commission member Liu Jinli earlier this year, rumors circulated in the political sphere. It was reported that Zhejiang Provincial Governor Liu Jie was questioned by retired former subordinates. They asked him, "Is something big happening in Beijing?" Liu Jie angrily retorted, "Are you all hoping for the big guy to have problems every day?" Chen Po-kong remarked that Xi Jinping used the 20th Party Congress to consolidate power, but he has not fully controlled the situation. In fact, opposition voices have been growing louder. Chen says, he has been performing increasingly poorly. The internal economy has collapsed, and international relations has also deteriorated. Discontent among retired officials is widespread. All retired officials hope something happens to Xi Jinping.